Well, that's two solutions to the same problem, right? Typically, women are dating hypergamously as you have an increased number of women that are within a educated or highly educated field. They compete themselves out of their own dating pool because there are ever fewer and fewer men that are above and across from where those women are. So there are two solutions that you can either get women to change the way that they're aiming, or you can begin to bring the waterline of men up.
Right, but as you can imagine, there probably isn't a huge market for books on education policy. I don't know if you read Datanomics, but the last chapter is highly focused on how we solve the boy problem in education, and also trying to provide some advice to young people applying to college and to their parents or university, as you may refer to it in the UK, just letting them know that the prevailing sex ratios on college campuses have a huge impact on the campus culture, particularly when it comes to dating. I don't know if you want to get into that a little bit, but to me, I think actually getting back to your first question or your prior question, this was a big reaction of the book that particularly young people who had just graduated from college or parents of college or university applicants were telling me how shocked they were by some of the anecdotes and some of the research in Datanomics showing how prevailing sex ratios on a college campus can have a huge impact on the way kids on campus view dating.
How so?
So in Datanomics, I did an analysis of about 40 major public and private universities, and I ranked them by their sex ratios. And I paired that ranking with students' own descriptions of what dating life is like on these college campuses. And the descriptions came courtesy of the College Prowler college review book. It's basically a book written for applicants. So if you want to know what the engineering program is like at University of Georgia, or what the cafeteria food is like, or in this case, what the dating life is like there, you can read, and it's all written by current or recent students, so you can get a sense of what life is like, on these college campuses. And it was really striking how differently kids talked about dating at various schools depending upon the prevailing sex ratios. And I'll give you some examples here. So Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is kind of a science and engineering school in upstate New York, RPI. RPI is about 70% men, 30% women, more than 2 men for every 1 woman. And here's what students said about dating at RPI. More people are involved in relationships. Girls seem to become stuck up because they're in such a minority that they can afford to be choosy. Caltech, which is California Institute of Technology in California, and if you remind me, I have a funny story about Caltech, which I can add at the end. Caltech is 60-40, 60% men, 40% women, 3 men for every 2 women. Here's what students said there about dating. Students here tend not to date but have relationships. Breakups are rare, and many couples get married after Caltech. Even the schools that were 50-50, it was more familiar to me as a 50-year-old guy when it came to like what I remember about college. So Tufts University, which is in suburban Boston, Tufts is 50-50. Halfway through sophomore year, people begin to pair off and generally stay paired off through junior and senior year. That's familiar to me. That's what I remember. University of Miami, which has a reputation as a big party school, but it also happens to be 50-50. And here's what students say about dating there. Random hookups are common in the beginning, but after a few months or a year, relationships take over. So compare the schools that are either more men than women or 50-50 to some of the schools that are disproportionately female. I'll start with New York University in New York City. NYU is 61% female, 39% male. Again,
Is that That's about representative typically, I think, on average for most colleges now.
It wasn't when I wrote it was more like 75-35. I must not 75. It was more like I'm sorry. It was closer to 58-30,
42,
42
yeah.
when I wrote the,
But we're
or
now
maybe
looking
57-33.
by 2030 we're going to be
But now it's, yep. But I think this year's graduating class, I think you're right. I think at least in the U.S. it's 60-40.
it's going to be bang on.
So New York, yeah. So NYU, New York University, here's what kids say about dating at NYU. Guys take advantage of the male to female ratio, and most have no plans of settling into a long-term relationship. Boston University, where actually my son is a senior, BU is 62% female, 38% male. Here's the comment. Freshman year is a sexual explosion. There are girls to go around and around again. And lastly, Sarah Lawrence College, which used to be an all-girls school in suburban New York. It's now co-ed, but it's 75% female, 25% male, 3 women for every 1 man. You could probably guess what I'm about to read to you, but I'll let me share. Quote, the girls complain about loneliness, the guys get more than they can handle, and mindless one-night stands are rampant. So for me, like doing the college research really kind of showed how these prevailing sex ratios don't just affect the statistical odds of getting into a relationship, but they change culture, they change behavior as well.
Yeah, and rolling the clock forward, the people that graduate from those colleges, presuming that men and women drop out at similar rates. I think men might drop out a little bit more than women, actually,
but
probably not enough to rebalance this sex ratio that we've got. And I think that, yeah, you'd be about right at saying 60-40 women to men, but by 2030, the projection is 2/3 women to 1/3 men at a 4-year US college. So this trend is going to continue to get more and more pronounced.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, as I said, with my first book, part of my purpose in writing it was reversing that trend and trying to figure out how we get more men to attend university or college. But that's a long-term thing. It's not going to solve the dating problem in the short term.
Well, the other thing is that dating is inherently an individual act, right? Dating,
right.
Your dating strategy, what sort of partner you're looking for, how you're going about looking for a partner, that's something that you can impact individually. What you're trying to do, or what you would be trying to do there by continuing to improve men's desire to go to college, that's systemic, right? That's a big, broad social change that you're trying to get to do. Yes, it happens individually, one by one, but I feel like trying to impact individuals' dating strategies is a simpler problem than trying to improve an entire sex's view of how to go to college.
No, you're right. But I guess from my point of view, the boy problem in education isn't just a dating problem.
Oh yeah, men don't just go to college to get laid. Yeah. Although your son did choose one of the colleges that's got a high female ratio.
So my son is actually gay. So he gets.
Oh God, he's ruined it.
I know.
Why didn't he go to the one with the technology college with 75% men?
Because I believe it or not, prevailing sex ratios have no impact on same-sex dating because you can always divide by 2.
The rules are just thrown out of the window.
But I will say my son Alex he has lots of wonderful female friends, but yeah, he gets no benefit from the oversupply of fabulous women at BU.
Bloody hell. Okay, so getting on to make your move, what are the mistakes that men make that you're trying to get women to avoid making?
Well, the book is really written for women because that's who buys dating books. And there are 2 big themes of Make Your Move. The first one is basically encouraging women to be more assertive, to make the first move with men, because, and we can get into this, I believe that research shows there are lots of advantages to doing so, and it's going to be easier to find your true love, so to speak, if you don't wait for him to find you. And the second big theme of Make Your Move, and I think this has been a little bit more controversial, but I'm happy to make my arguments, is encouraging people to get off the dating apps because I don't think online dating has been good for relationships, for romance, and I think it's only going to get worse.